Yeah, Malik Faris, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want you to answer this question, please.
Okay. Generations. Okay, which completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English. Generations of mystery and horror have been influenced by the dark Gothic stories of celebrated American author Edgar Allan Poe. Okay. I don't think we need any punctuation. Is it A?
Okay, why? For which reason?
Because if we put punctuation, it's gonna just be like generations of mystery and horror writers.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah,
like
here we
it
use
won't
it.
be connected.
For which reason we use a punctuation if we're going to use it right here in this sentence?
If we want to make a
We join between the subject and the verb, right?
yeah.
Yeah, the subject here is the word generations. And here we have the verb for sure, have been. And when we join or we combine between the subject and the verb, do we need any punctuation or not?
None.
No, for sure, yes. Okay. So the answer will be letter,
A.
yeah, for sure. So as long as here we have like generation, I would say here the subject and the verb, we use it to combine, or when we look at the options as we got used to say, you'll find out that we have differences regarding to the punctuation mark itself. We have the word writers and nothing coming after it. Then we have comma coming after. Then M dash, then we have the semicolon. Okay. As long as we use it to join between subject and the verb, that mean here the punctuation is not needed at all. يعني احنا بالعربي بقى لما بنيجي نجمع ما بين الفاعل والفعل between the subject and the verb, nothing will be in between. ما بنحطش أي punctuation ما بينهم. That's why we're not going to use letter B or C or even letter D. Okay. Simply we use letter A, we say generation of mystery and or writers have been influenced by the dark. That's why we choose letter A. Why? One more time. When we combine and join between the subject and the verb, no need to place any punctuation mark. Okay. I'm not gonna put M dash or even comma, for example, or semicolon or any other punctuation. That's why we choose letter A. Okay, that's the other question. Rinal, number 22, sorry.
Okay, which choice completes the text that confirms? Okay, the radiation that blank during the decay of radioactive atomic nuclei is known as gamma radiation. Okay, it's not A. Wait, it's A
Yeah, why?
because it's not past, so we can't say have occurred, and
Mhm.
it's not happening right now, so it's not are occurring,
Okay.
and so
Yeah, you
A.
look at when we look at the options, what do you think that what is the topic tested right here in this question? إيه الموضوع اللي بنتم اختبارنا فيه هنا. We have differences regarding to the verbs, right? Occurs
Yeah,
or have occurred or occur or are occurring right here, okay? We said that we have two possibilities, whether it's subject-verb agreement or it is regarding to the tense itself. يا إما subject-verb agreement يا إما tense نتكلم عن الأزمنة يعني, okay? The priority, the utmost, and that would be placed in your own mind that it's going to be subject-verb agreement. I mean here the first step, check regarding to the subject-verb agreement itself, okay? When I say that radiation that occurs or have occurred or occur or are occurring, what is the subject here? What is the subject? الفاعل الجملة دي.
the subject
Yeah,
occurred during the decay.
the subject not the verb, Renal. Wake up. Hmm.
subject هو الفعل صح؟
Yeah, that's the subject فاعل, yes. It's the radiation, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
what? How is it
Radiation is
radiation?
this is the subject right here. The radiation that, then we put the verb.
Oh,
You
because
have a subject.
radiation
The whole
is the
sentence is
one that
about the subject.
occurs.
Yeah, the one who does the action is the
Uh,
subject, and the action itself is the verb. Okay, fine. So radiation is singular. That's why we choose letter A. As you said, yes, you're correct. I'm not saying that you are incorrect, but try to explain it according to the discussion. You understand? So the question here is subject verb agreement. When we look at the verb or we look at the subject first, you've got to spot the subject, find out it's the word radiation. The word radiation is singular. That's why I have got to choose a singular verb too. الفاعل مفرد بنختار فعل مفرد. Radiation that have occurred, surely not, occur or are occurring. All of these, letter B and C are letter D, they are all for plural form. That's why we choose letter A to be for singular form. So the radiation that occurs during the decay. That's simply okay. Subject singular, which with the verb, this has to be singular too, and nothing else. Okay. طيب, let's see number 23. Malik Basil.
Which shows complete set of conforms to conventional standard English. The Mission 66 innovative, which was approved by Congress in 1956, represented a major investment in the infrastructure of overburdened national. It prioritized physical improvements to the roads. I think it's letter
Take your time.
B.
Take your time.
Okay.
Take your time.
I think it's letter D.
Let us see here. When we look at the options, we find out that we have differences in the punctuation, right? For example, letter D is followed by comma, letter C followed by semicolon, letter B nothing here, letter A barks then and without using punctuation. We said before, we have got to identify what comes before the comma, or what I mean what comes before the punctuation and what comes after the punctuation. اللي بيجي قبل البنكتويشن واللي جاي بعدها تمام. For example, I would put like a possibility that is the answer is letter D. يعني أنا أعتقد مثلا احتمالية إن الأنسر مثلا letter A D يعني بيجي بعدها يعني كوما. Okay, طيب. What comes before the comma? I say here, for example, from the beginning, the mission 66 initiative. So the initiative is the subject represented. As long as here we have subject and verb, what did the initiative do exactly? Represented the verb. Okay, represented what? We put the object, major investment, to the national park, to the end right here. So it is a clause. Right. What comes after the comma? At prioritized, sorry. Okay, so we have the subject and we have the word. And we have a verb right here. As long as we have a subject and verb before it, and a subject and verb after it, that means we use the punctuation to combine between two clauses. احنا بنستخدم punctuation هنا عشان نجمع بين جملتين. تمام. طب which one of them can be used to join between two clauses? Only comma. Does it work to use it? Malik. Does it work to use only
I don't
comma
think
to
so.
join between two sentences or to close? Probably
No.
not. Okay. So the first step, Malak, as we always say, we have to identify what comes before the punctuation and what comes after. If I put subject and verb before it, that means it's a clause. What comes after it's a subject and verb, so it's another clause. So we combine here between two clauses. بنجمع بين جملتين. Not a clause or a phrase. مش من جملة وعبارة. Okay. طيب. Which one will be chosen right here? Comma? Surely not. We can't join between two main
Letter
clauses
B.
using only comma. Nothing at all. So if we say letter B, I mean here nothing will be used to combine between two clauses, right? So nothing will be used to combine between them?
Yes.
No, never. Okay, this will be a run-on sentence. I have got to use a punctuation mark or a punctuation like a comma, then coordinating conjunction coming after it. If I want to combine between two main clauses, or we use a semicolon only. Okay, so what do you think the answer will be?
B.
You said it's not letter B. Didn't we say this?
Okay, C.
Yeah, it's letter C. Okay. Why would it be letter C exactly right here? We have identified that we're combining between two clauses, and we use semicolon to combine between the two clauses. Okay. The initiative represented. This is the first clause. It prioritized the second clause, subject and verb. That's why we choose letter C. Which one? That is followed by a semicolon. Why? Because we use a semicolon to combine between two sentences. Okay. The comma only doesn't work to be used. Nothing like letter B can't be used. The word and can't be used as well. Okay, Malak, we answered such a question too many times. I want you to focus, please. So,
Okay.
yeah, the answer is gonna be letter C for sure. Okay, but what about the word or the clause or the relative clause which was approved by? This is just a relative clause can be removed. Okay, you surely eliminate it and you do not. I mean, neglect it. Don't focus on it. ما تركزيش عليه. تمام. طيب, what comes after represented like the major investment? That is the object المفعول يعني اللي بيجي بعد الاكشن verb بيبقى مفعول. Like when I say simply, like he scored the goal. He subject scored the verb and the goal is the object. The same like when I say the initiative represented a major investment. Initiative, for example, the subject represented the verb and the major investment right here is the object. Okay. What about in the infrastructures of the overburdened national to the park? All of these start from in right here. It's a propositional phrase can be removed too. What I mean here, you can eliminate all the additional phrases existed in the sentence. And what we focus on is the subject and the verb. يعني احنا بنزيل كل الفريزز اللي هي اضافيه العبارات الاضافيه ونركز على الفاعل والفاعل. Initiative represent the subject to verb. طيب اللي جاي بعدها it prioritized subject and verb. Okay, so it's two clauses. When we combine between two clauses, use semicolon. We never use comma. And like letter B, if nothing is between, will be eliminated to cannot be used. And if I want to use and, for example, or any of the other coordinating conjunctions, like fanboys, as we say, for and or and or, but yet. So any of these, you have got to place a comma before them. يعني لازم نحط كوما قبلهم لو هنستخدم أي من coordinating conjunction عشان نكون compound sentence. فletter A هنا مفيش حاجة قبل and أصلا. يبقى طبعا for sure letter A is incorrect. Okay. If I want to use and, there is supposed to be a comma before and or before this conjunction. But let us see the others. Number 24, Zain.
All right. A recent study tracked the number of bee species present in 27 New York apple orchards over the 10-year period. The answer would be C.
Okay. Yes, great. Nice.
Yes.
Why would it be letter C right here? How would we answer such a question? We say this is for the punctuation, whether we put, for example, letter B, comma, before header and after grab, or we put like,
It would be an infinitive.
yeah, that's a colon,
I mean, apostrophe. Yeah.
like a letter A, or a comma after grab letter D, or nothing at all. Okay. First of all, right here, we don't have to get confused by this part. I mean, this sentence. It's away it's very far from the answer because it's not a part of the missing part. يعني مش جزء من الايه من الجزء المفقود يعني. طيب, we focus on the other one. You'll find out that we use it here to join between the title and the subject and the verb. Okay. Entomologist, Heather Grab. Heather Grab is the name. Okay. The subject, what I mean. Entomologist, his title, his occupation or his career. وظيفته يعني. تمام. بعد كده Heather Grab. And after that we have found, and found is a verb. As long as we combine between subject and between the verb, nothing will be placed in between. طالما احنا بنجمع ما بين فاعل وما بين فاعل مفيش حاجة ايه ما بينهم. طيب, do we place anything between the title and the subject? يعني when I say, for example, teacher Mustafa. Teacher is the title and Mustafa is the subject right here. Okay. Do we place anything between teacher and Mustafa? Surely not. Doctor Zain, for example. Nothing will be placed between doctor and Zain. The title and the subject will be placed together without any punctuation between them. Okay, that's why letter B is incorrect. Why? Because there is comma between the title, entomologist, and between the subject head. So you remove it. طالما احنا عندنا هنا في كوما ما بين التايتل الوظيفة يعني وما بين الاسم خلاص يبقى نشيل. Okay. طيب, for example, letter D, we put a comma after the subject. يعني حاطين كوما ما بين الفاعل اللي هو Heather Grab and between the verb اللي هو found. طيب, nothing will be placed between the subject and the verb. مش حاجة بنحطها ما بين الفاعل والفعل. يبقى letter D, surely it is incorrect. Okay. طيب, letter A, for example, here we put a colon after the subject. For which reason we place a colon between the subject and the verb? Surely no need. Okay. That's why letter A is incorrect too. So the answer is letter C. For which reason? Which was letter C without any punctuation. ليه ما بنحطش أي punctuation في letter C? Because we placed nothing between the title and the subject and the verb. Okay, etymology to the title. Ether grabs the subject. Found is the verb for sure. Nothing will be between them. That's why we choose letter C for sure. Okay. Right. You got it? You got the answer here, all of you? Assalamu alaikum.
Yes.
Yeah, you got the answer. If you don't understand any questions, please ask me to explain it again one more time. Okay, Malak? Malak Basit.
Okay.
Yeah, Anne. Anne. Anne, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, I want you to answer this question, Anne, please. Question
Okay.
number 25.
This is why being cheap, reliable, and easy to produce. They are made from non-renewable petroleum and must do biodegradate and landfill.
Yeah, and what do you think the answer is?
Yeah, I'm still thinking.
Hmm.
I think A is incorrect.
Yeah, okay, letter A is incorrect for sure. Huh?
And B2 is incorrect.
Okay. Yeah, what do you think the answer is?
I think the answer is C.
Letter C? Okay. You just stay with me and the others, please. You look at the options right here, you'll find out that the location, or I mean the subject, is different, right? If we look at letter A, there are two problems. So the subject here is the word problems. الفعل هنا كلمة problems. تمام. Letter B, two problems are associated. It is the same subject. Okay. Problems, what I mean. Commercial plastic, two associated problems. We're still speaking here about the problems because it comes after the apostrophe S, or as the apostrophe. Here, letter D, commercial plastics. We're speaking about plastics. Okay. So you find out that the subject is different from A and B and C and letter D. Okay, it is the same for A, B, and C. And letter D is a little bit different. Okay. I mean here the change in the order of the words in a sentence لما نلاقي كده في الاختيارات في اختلاف في ترتيب الكلمات and what comes before the missing part اللي جاي قبل المissing part مثلا بيبقى phrase عبارة. That mean here the material or the topic tested in this question is the subject and its modifier الفاعل والعبارة اللي بتوصفه زي ما احنا بنقول قبل كده. تمام. ف when we say despite being cheap, versatile and easy to produce, بالرغم من كونه رخيص, versatile متعدد الاستخدام, and easy to produce وسهل إنتاجه. What do you think will be cheap? إيه اللي ممكن نكون رخيص and versatile and easy to produce? Problems as letter A, problems as letter B, or letter C or letter D? What do you think? Which one
D.
here? Yeah, for sure. Okay. So which subject right here is used to be modified and to be described by the phrase placed before it, coming and preceding it. اي فعل هنا بيتم وصفه بالعباره اللي جايه قبليه طبعا ايه letter D. Why? Because we're speaking about plastics. Okay. So how would we answer such a question? You look at the options as we say. For the writing questions and the grammar one, we always look at the options and we try to know, we have got to know what is the topic tested in this question، يعني ايه الموضوع اللي انا بتسأل فيه في الايه في السؤال ده. تمام. we'll find out here it is the subject and its modifier، الفاعل والعبارة اللي بتوصفه. طب العبارة اللي بتوصفه طبعا بتكون قبليه، فأنا ببص على العبارة اللي جاية قبليه. I found out it's the word despite being cheap, versatile and too easy to produce. بالرغم من إنه رخيص ومتعدد الاستخدام وسهل إنتاجه. Which one of them? If I say there are two problems, the subject here is problem. I mean the problems or this word is described by this phrase. Surely not. It's not letter A. Letter B, it is the same subject, two problems. So it's not letter B for sure. Letter C, it is the same as well. We say commercial plastics, S apostrophe, two associated problems. I mean, I'm speaking here about the problems too. So it is not letter C. That's why the answer for sure would be letter D, commercial plastics. They were speaking about the word plastic actually to be cheap, versatile, and easy to be produced. That's why I chose letter D. Okay, is it clear for all? Any question? Okay, nothing. Let's see the others. Bismillah. Number 26. Sorry. Ahmed, where is here?
Yes, Mr.
Yeah, please answer this question.
Which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English? On April 5, 1977, Kitty Cohn and 150 other disability rights activists entered the San Francisco Federal Building after pleading for years to no effect for the passage of key anti-discrimination legislation until their demands were addressed. Finally, on April 28, the legislation was signed. Okay. Protest. Mr. D.
The activist. Yeah, okay. Why would it letter D, Ahmed? Okay. It is for sure letter D, as you say. Okay. Why would it be letter D exactly here? We'll find out. You have here the order of the words, or change the order of the words right here regarding to the options, like we say. For example, the subject in letter A is the word pressure, and letter P we say a sit in a protest, so it's a protest. And letter C, lawmakers came, so the subject is lawmakers. And letter D, the word activist. Okay. When we look at what comes before it after pleading for years, بعد ما طلبوا لمدة سنين, to no effect without any vein, بدون جدوى, for the passage of key anti-discrimination legislation, تضبط ضد تشريع طبعا التميز. Okay, until their demands were addressed. So the activists who have been pleading for years, مين اللي كانوا بيطلبوا لمدة سنين بدون جدوى ان هم كانوا ضد مثلا ايه تشريع التميز او ضد التميز وهكذا يعني. When we look at the sentence before it, you'll find out that we're speaking about the activist. احنا بنتكلم عن النشطاء. طب what did they do exactly؟ عملوا ايه؟ entered San Francisco Federal Building after pleading. So دخلوا طبعا which activist exactly speaking about? The disability rights activists. اوكي هم نشطاء حقوق ذو الإعاقة يعني. تمام. فهو بيقول لي ايه النشطاء حقوق ذو الإعاقة enter a San Francisco Federal Building، دخلوا مبنى الفيدرالي لسان فرانسيسكو ويطلبوا لمدة سنين، وكان ده بدون جدوى ان هم يلغوا اي تشريع ضد او مع التميز يعني. تمام. طيب لا، وبدأوا يصروا على قرارهم ده لما تم ايه اصدار او الكلام ده حصل يعني. تمام. ف the phrase that comes before it is after pleading for years، بعد ما طلبوا لمدة سنين. Okay, so who has been asking for the rights of the or those who have disability؟ مين اللي كان بيسأل عن حقوق اللي عندهم ايه إعاقة او ذوي الإعاقة يعني؟ طبعا the activists. Okay, after pleading for years. طيب pressure، الضغط، surely not letter A. They haven't asked at all about the rights of those who have disability. Okay. Letter B, protest itself. They didn't ask, they didn't plead about anything. For sure, the protest does work to be used even to plead about something. The lawmakers themselves, they were asked، تم طلب منهم هم to cancel any discrimination يعني انهم يلغوا اي تميز واي حاجه. اوكي. and to make kind of laws and legislation for the sake of those have disability يعني. ويعملوا اي طبعا ايه قوانين لصالح اللي عندهم اعاقه يعني الحفاظ على حقوقهم وهكذا يعني. وطبعا lawmakers didn't ask but they were asked. هم ما طلبوش ولكن طلب منهم. وطبعا letter C is incorrect. طيب letter D the activists for sure النشطاء نفسهم هم اللي كانوا بيطلبوا لمدة سنين بدون جدوى إلى أن تم الاستجابة إلى طلباتهم. وطبعا the answer will be letter D for this reason. It is a subject and its modifier الفاعل والعبارة اللي قبليه اللي بتصفه. طبعا العبارة the word after pleading for years to no effect for the passage of the key until the comma and then we start with the word activist كنشطاء يعني. That's why the answer will be letter D. طيب. Let's see number 27. زياد. Okay, Ziad is not here. Yes, Malak.
I'm here, Mr.
Okay, answer number 27.
In recent years, economists around the world have created new tools that quantify the overall well-being of a country's citizens. Economists in India, for example, use an ease of living index. This tool, economic potential substantially and citizens' quality of life. B. Mr. Hello, Mr.
Yeah, again, yes. Sorry, I was speaking and I was muted. Letter B here, when we say letter B, it's past perfect, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, if we use past perfect here, when we use past perfect, we use it for the sequences of the events. بنستخدمه لتتابع الأحداث. What I mean that an action that happened before another action يعني حدث حصل قبل حدث تاني. The action that happens first الحدث اللي بيحصل الأول has to be past perfect لازم يبقى ماضي تام. And the action that happens after it والحدث اللي بيحدث بعديه has to be past simple بيكون ماضي بسيط. Do we have any sequences for the events right here في أي تتابع أحداث؟ No, surely not. So it's not letter B. Okay. Do you think the sentences in the past will speak about this tool, economic potential, sustainability, and citizen equality of life? Okay. You understand? But do we speak about anything that happened in the past?
It says in recent years, so I thought it was past.
No, it is not. I mean, for the first one, but here, same like what I just told you what the action that happens first. I mean here, when we speak about sequences of the events, بنتكلم على تتابع أحداث, we use past perfect, right? بنستخدم ماضي تام. Okay, so when I say when we use لما بنستخدم because this is a fact. I'm talking about a fact. When I say when an action happens before another action لما حدث بيحدث قبل حدث تاني. Okay, so this is still present simple لسه مضارع بسيط because I'm still speaking about facts لأني بتكلم على حقائق. تمام. Even if the general context لو النص العام is in the past. لو في الماضي ممكن أتكلم لك على أحداث في الماضي وأروح جاي كاتب لك مثلا حقيقة يعني شيء معين بيستخدم بشكل عام من الماضي إلى الآن بيستخدم كعادة فيبقى في المضارع الإيه البسيط. وصلت الفكرة؟
Yes.
Okay, so which one do you think that will be used right here?
I think it's A.
Yeah, that's it. This tool هذه الأداة measures economic potential بتقيس طبعا الاحتمالات الاقتصادية sustainability الاستدامة essence and quality of life تمام جودة الإيه حياة المواطنين يعني تمام. فطبعا نتكلم على حقيقة إن هي الأداة دي بتستخدم لقياس معين أو تقيس حاجة معينة. فطبعا we use letter A measures. Why it's not in the past, we're speaking about the fact that why we use letter A. Right. Yes, see the rest of them. Malak Faris, please, number 20.
She's not in the call.
She's not here.
No.
Okay, Renal, please.
Okay. Which choice completes the text with the most logical transition? Most of the planets that have been discovered outside our solar system orbit G-type stars, like our sun. In 2014, blank researchers identified a planet orbiting Celt 9, a B star type more than twice as massive and nearly twice as hot as the sun. Called Celt 9b is one of the hottest planets ever discovered. Okay. It's not like it's not B, however, or D.
Okay. Why won't it be letter B?
B,
Why?
however,
Yeah, why do you think
uh,
it's not gonna be letter B?
because we're talking about two different stars. Wait, are we comparing? Because in the second tense text it says that it's
You just said it that we're
type B.
speaking about two different stars,
So,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, we're
yeah.
speaking about two opposing ideas, two clashing ideas, two contradictory ideas. بنتكلم على فكرتين متناقضتين. صح كده؟
Mhm.
Yeah, because we speak about that most of the planets that have been recently discovered outside our solar system orbit G-type stars. يعني بنلف حوالين G-type stars, okay? Like our sun زي الشمس مثلا. طيب, in 2014 they discovered or they identified a planet orbiting B-type star. على الرغم ان معظمهم orbit G-type stars. بس هم اكتشفوا planet orbiting B-type star. So we're speaking about opposing ideas, clashing ones, right? يعني على فكرتين
Yeah.
متناقضتين. As long as we use clashing ideas or opposing or contradictory one or controversial situation here, we use letter A, likewise. Surely not, right? Because likewise they have to be the same.
No.
Yeah, because
Yes.
when it's likewise we speak about similar situation. بنتكلم على موقف متشابه أو فكرتين متشابهين. We use therefore. Surely not.
No.
Because there's no any I mean we're not speaking about the cause and effect ما بنتكلمش على سبب ونتيجة or cause and result. طيب مفيش نتيجة بعدها يعني not letter C. Do we give an example right here? And the second
No.
sentence that comes after the transitional surely not. So the answer will be letter A.
However.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Why? Do we use however right here? Because we're speaking about opposing ideas. That's why we choose letter B. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rinal. So here, regarding to letter number 20 here, this is transitional sentence or transition questions. The material tested here was speaking about the transitional words. كلمات الانتقالية. Okay. I have got to identify the relationship between the two ideas or the two sentences that are combined by one of these transitional words. يعني لازم احدد ايه العلاقة ما بين الجملتين اللي انا بجمع ما بينهم تمام باستخدام احد هذه الايه كلمات الانتقالية يعني. Okay. طيب when you read the first sentence for example لما نقرأ أول جملة هنا the idea mentioned الفكرة الموضحة إن معظم الكواكب اللي هي بتدور خارج المجموعة الشمسية بتدور حوالين G type star. Okay, like our sun مثلا. فهم مقسمين الستارز كده G type B type A type يعني هم مقسمينها كده whatever يعني. تمام. فالجملة اللي جاية بعدها قال لي لا ده هم اكتشفوا كوكب بيدور حوالين بي تايب ستار برضو خارج اللي هي المجموعة الشمسية. فمعنى كده الفكرة التانية عكس الفكرة الأولى. As long as they are against each other, they're opposing each other, contradictory, clashing situation here, موقف متناقض. Directly we use however. نستخدم however ومع ذلك we use but. We use nevertheless. Okay. We use that said. We use by contrary for example or in contrast for example or by contrast على سبيل التناقض. Okay. فأي حاجة توضح أو we sometimes we start with in spite or despite of although even though any of these but like subordinate conjunction not like transitional words. أي حاجة توضح إن في تناقض ما بين الجملتين طبعا بنستخدمها. طبعا likewise when we use likewise بالتشابه مثلا the two ideas are similar to each other بيكونوا متشابهين لبعض. يعني أنا بتكلم على فكرة وأعطيك مثلا إيه فكرة تانية متشابهة للفكرة الأولى فأصبح في تشابه ما بينهم فبستخدم likewise. لما بستخدم therefore أو use for example thus. بستخدم أي حاجة توضح النتيجة. What comes after has to be a result for what comes before it. لازم يكون نتيجة للي جاي قبل. When I use for example, I mean what comes after for example as an example, a real example for the idea before it. يعني أنا حاطط فكرة واحدة قبلها وأحط مثال عليه فاستخدم for example. That's why here we choose letter B. طيب. Let's see number 19. Malak Faris, please.
First matter.
Okay.
No, I'm back.
Malak Faris, then Malak Bes.
Okay. In a heated debate in biogeography, the field is divided between dispersalists and vicaricists, whatever. Okay. There are those who argue that dispersal is the most crucial determining factor in a species distribution, and those who insist that, okay, the other one is, okay. So in a heated debate, so because there's a debate from the start, we're just going to use furthermore because it's expanding on what
adding
was said
additional
before.
information,
Yeah.
or do you think that he adds additional information right here, or is trying to clarify the idea before it? Because he mentioned kind of generalization, تعميم عام,
Or
before
maybe
it.
it could be C.
Let's see here. What comes before it? It's just like generalization, يعني تعميم عام. Right? A general idea, okay? Then what comes after is used for what? Do you think it's example or adding additional information to the generalization itself? هل أنا بضيف معلومات إضافية على التعميم العام نفسه؟ Or what comes after is used to clarify the generalization. بستخدمه عشان أوضح اللي جاء قبلها. فاهمين؟
It's just clarifying, like it's expanding on the idea. It's
Just
not really adding information.
clarifying. Yeah, I'm not adding additional information or additional idea. أنا ما بضيفش يعني فكرة إضافية. To use furthermore. Okay. So just we seek for clarifying the idea before. Why? Because we see here there are those who argue that dispersal is the most crucial determining factor in the species distribution. بيتكلم يعني على انتشار السبيشيز الفصائل هنا. تمام. And those who insist واللي بيدعموا the vicariance separation due to the geographic barriers يعني okay الفواصل طبقا للايه اي عوائق جغرافيه وهكذا. هما بيتكلموا عن انتشار الفصائل والانواع وهكذا يعني regarding to the living things itself. ففي دعم لحاجتين موضح في الديبيت نفسه. في ناس بتدعم عمليه الانتشار وفي ناس بتدعم عمليه الانفصال. Okay, like the dispersalists and the other one vicarianists. اوكي ففي عندنا انتشار وعندنا طبعا انفصال وهكذا. اوكي اللي جاي بعدها بقى فبيشرح لي ازاي في دعم للايه للانفصال والانتشار فبيديني clarification. As long as it gives clarification right here I'm not gonna use for example لان انا ما بضيفش معلومات اضافيه. But do you think there is kind of contrast? The contrast will be between the first idea, what comes before, I mean this one, and what comes after, used by contrast?
No, so it's going to be D.
No, right? Yeah. Do you have any similar situation or similar ideas to use letter C? في أي تشابه يعني؟ And I'm saying I give two examples and they are similar to each others. بدي مثالين وهما متشابهين مع بعض.
There's no
طبعا لا.
examples, no.
Yeah, there is no example and they are not similar to each other, as you say. So what comes after, like speaking in details, I give like a generalization. بدي تعميم عام في الأول and an idea كفكرة. And what come after will be used as a kind of details for clarifying the generalization. بدي تفاصيل عشان أدعم التعميم العام اللي جاء قبلها. That's why yes, the answer is letter D. That's it. Okay. وإنه then we'll speak about the term mentioned at the beginning. اللي هو الديبيت نفسها إن كان في جدال على طريقة انتشار أو الفصائل وهكذا سواء كانت انتشارا أو انفصالا وراح جاي موضح إزاي بتبقى انتشارا وإزاي بتبقى انفصالا. فطبعا we add like information or additional I mean here for clarifying the idea لتوضيح الفكرة. That's why we choose letter D. طيب ممتاز. ملك باسل number 20. Number 18.
Which
sorry.
choice
18.
completes the text with the okay which choice completes the text sorry which choice completes the text with the most logical transition? In her poetry collection Thomas and Bla Rita Dove interweaves the titular character personal stories with broader historical narratives. She places Thomas's journey from the American South to the Midwest in the early 19th within the larger context. Of the Great Migration process. I think it's letter D, similarly.
I think too. Okay, why? You think? So
Actually,
let
it's
us
what it
see
doesn't say.
why would we choose letter D right here? When we look at the beginning for the idea that comes before it right here, okay, you have like a sentence and the other, this is the first sentence coming right here. And then we have like an example, and this will be another example. Like what? Well, how do we just like order them or arrange them? Like a generalization, تعميم عام. بعد كده مثال على التعميم. بعد كده مثال تاني على التعميم. Okay. طيب. When we speak here about the first part, the first one, the generalization هو تعميم عام أو general idea يعني بنسميها. In poetry collection مجموعات الشعر هي اسمها توماس and Piola. Dove interweaves the titular characters personal stories with broader historical narratives. يعني دوف اللي هي كاتبه المجموعه الشعريه ديت بتجمع ما بين ايه؟ في نسيج ما بين personal stories الشخصيات او القصص الشخصيه للشخصيات نفسها with broader historical narratives مع روايات تاريخيه متوسعه. تمام، فده كانت الفكره العامه ان هي وهي بتكتب الشعر فهي بتحاول تجمع ما بين صفات او قصص الشخصيه نفسها مع احداث تاريخيه. تمام. طيب she places توماس for example، فادتنا مثال على الموضوع ده ان هي بتضع قصه توماس جيرني، رحله توماس قصته اللي هي قصته الشخصيه يعني from the American South to the Midwest، من الجنوب الامريكي الى the Midwest الغرب الوسطي in the early 90s. طيب within the larger context of the Great Migration، مع الهجرة العظيمة كانوا بيسموها في الوقت ده. فإذا هنا ده مثال إن هي كانت بتجمع بين قصة شخص معين مع أحداث كانت جارية تاريخية في الوقت ده. طيب تاني إيه كمان؟ ده كان لمين؟ اللي كانت لتوماس يعني. أوكي، شخص اسمه توماس. طيب الثانية دوف sets events from Piola's personal life، ده شخص تاني. فهي عملت ايه برضو احداث لشخص اسمه بيولا او شخصية واحدة whatever يعني personal life against the backdrop of the US civil rights movement. اثناء طبعا قصته الشخص اسمه بيولا ده مع حركة الحقوق المدنية الموجودة في امريكا في الوقت ده. فاذا مثال تاني ان هي برضه كانت بتجمع ما بين قصة شخص معين وأحداث جارية اللي هي كانت حركة الحقوق المدنية في أمريكا. ف when we focus here regarding to what comes before the transitional world and the other one, you'll find out it's kind of similar situation يعني مواقف متشابهة. All similar examples أمثلة متشابهة because there's kind of similarity، في تشابه ما بينهم. That both of them would support the generalization، وهما الاثنين بيدعموا الايه؟ التعميم العام او الفكرة العامة، الفكرة الرئيسية اللي هي في شعرها بشكل عام اللي هو مع توماس بيولا يعني كانت بتجمع ما بين الشخصية والأحداث الجارية او الأحداث التاريخية يعني. فراح جاي مديني مثال على توماس ان هي كانت بتجمع ما بين قصته والاحداث اللي هي كانت في جريد مايجريشن، ومثال تاني على دوف اللي هي كانت بتجمع ما بين شخصيته واحداث اللي حركه الايه الحقوق المدنيه وهكذا. فاذا انا بجمع ما بين تشابه في الاحداث similarity in the events. That's why I'm gonna choose letter D. Okay. طيب why it's not letter A؟ ليه ما استخدمش specifically؟ specifically when I speak specifically about something لما اتكلم تحديدا عن حاجه معينه يعني I give like an idea، بعطي فكره واللي يجي بعدها يحدد لي بالظبط تفاصيل الفكره دي. تمام. فتكون نظام تفصيلة عن اللي جاء قبلها فبستخدم specifically تحديدا. تمام. طيب why it's not thus؟ لذلك أو therefore، لأن اللي بيجي بعدها بيكون نتيجة للي قبلها فأنا ما عنديش نتيجة جاية لسبب. تمام. why don't we choose regardless؟ بغض النظر. okay. Because regardless right here would negate what comes before it. I'm not gonna focus on what comes before it. أنا مش هركز على اللي جاي قبلها. No, I'm focusing on what comes after، بتركيزا على اللي جاي بعدها يعني. Okay. And for example here they had kind of difficulties to go outside regarding to the heavy rain طبقا للأمطار الكثيفة. regardless بغض النظر عن ذلك they went outside. So the main focus here that they went outside بغض النظر عن كل الأحداث اللي كانت بتحصل قبلها يعني whatever يعني. تمام. فذلك nothing here to be neglected to focus on another idea، مش حاجة يتم تجاهلها عشان أركز على حاجة تانية معينة. So I'm not gonna choose letter C. That's why the answer will be letter B. D for sure similarity. ممتاز. طيب let's see here number 17. Yes, Zain.
Alright. Samuel Coleridge Taylor was a prominent classical music composer from England who toured the US 3 times in the early 1900s. The child of a West African father and an English mother, Coleridge Taylor emphasized his mixed race ancestry. For example, he referred to himself as Anglo-African, uh, incorporate the sound of traditional African music into his classical music composition. Okay. Could the answer be A?
Why?
Well, because he is referred as Anglo-African and he incorporated the sound of traditional African music into his classical music.
Yeah, it's letter A. Let's see why would it be
Yeah.
letter A exactly right here. Let's see the idea coming before, the two ideas. The child of West African father and an English mother. الطفل اللي كان طبعا African father والده أفريقي وأمه إنجليزية. Emphasized his mixed race. تم بالتأكيد على طبعا his mixed race جنسه المختلط ما بين الأفريقي والإنجليزي. Ancestry. For example على سبيل ازاي عمل الكلام ده. For example على سبيل المثال he referred to himself as Anglo-African. تمام. كان يشير إلى نفسه إلى أنجلو أفريكان أفريقي إنجليزي. فده أحد الأمثلة إن هو كان بيأكد على يعني إن هو من أصول أفريقية إنجليزية. أوكي طيب وإيه تاني؟ He incorporated the sounds of traditional African music into his classical music compositions. وطبعا إدخال الأصوات من الأفريكان traditional music والموسيقى الأفريقية القديمة into his classical music composition في تركيبات الموسيقى الكلاسيكية بتاعته يعني. So these are both of them are two examples مثالين that would support the main idea اللي بتدعم الفكرة الرئيسية إن هو كان بأكد that he was emphasizing or he emphasized his mixed race كان بأكد على إن هو من جنسين طبعا مختلطين سواء كان I mean here like African or England يعني أفريقي أو إنجليزي يعني تمام. We add additional information نضيف معلومات إضافية for two examples مثالين for for supporting the main idea عشان تدعم الفكرة الرئيسية. That's why we choose letter A in addition to. Okay ممتاز. طيب number 16. Okay. Anne, think. في أحمد
Yes.
وائل or Anne. Okay. Anne or Ahmed Wael, whose turn is it?
I don't know.
Okay, Anne, please answer.
Okay, by researching the topic by taking the following notes. With intermediate structures, many braid nests are uniquely flexible yet massive as research team led by Yusraz Boussail wanted to better understand the machine and mechanics behind these structural properties. Team used laboratory models that simulated the arrangement of flexible six-tool nest-like structure. The researchers analyzed the points where sticks touched one another. When pressure was applied to the model nest, the number of contact points between the sticks increased, making the structure stiffer. The students want to present the primary aim of the research study, which was most effectively use the information from the notes to accomplish this goal.
You want to present the primary aim of the research study. As قدمنا طبعا الايه primary aim الهدف الأساسي من الايه من دراسة البحث هذا يعني اللي هو all these details I mentioned at the beginning in the laboratory نفسه. What do you think the answer will be?
I think it's 8.
Yes, excellent. So as I mentioned right here, this is for regarding to the notes. We call that a note question, rhetorical sentences. يعطينا ملاحظات. You'll be given like a notes right here, and the students wants to do something regarding to the notes. عايز يحدد حاجة معينة زي مثلا الايم or the purpose الغرض من النوتس أو الايم أو الهدف بتاعها main goal يعني. And then you choose why or what do these notes explain exactly يعني النوتس دي بتشرح ايه بالظبط يعني. As I mentioned right here, the engineer structure, many paired nests are flexible, yeah, cohesive. بتكلم على الستراكشر بتاعت النست بتاعت البيردز يعني. تركيبة طبعا القشر بتاع الطيور. Okay, described to be flexible معناه هي cohesive. A research team led by بوسيل، فريق بقياده شخص اسمه بوسيل wanted to better understand، كانوا عايزين يفهموا the mechanics behind these structure properties يعني ميكانيكية الايه خصائص التركيب بتاع العش الطيور يعني. Okay, this is the answer right here. طب هم كانوا عايزين يفهموا كلام من ده، ف they had like experiment in their laboratory، كان عندهم تجربة في المعمل بتاعهم، and they bring like stuff a model the same like this nest، وجابوا نماذج يعني قريبة من النست أو زيها يعني. Okay, this tried to have kind of experiment upon them، عملوا عليها أبحاث وتجارب in order to understand its properties عشان يفهموا خصائصها as I mentioned at the beginning كما هو موضح هنا. طبعا السؤال بيقول لي the student wants to present the primary، يمكن عايزين يقدموا او الطالب هنا عايز يقدم ايه الهدف الاساسي of the research study بتاع البحث ده او الدراسه ديت. اوكي، اي هم كانوا عايزين يعملوا ايه يعني بالبلدي كده. both sales team wanted to better understand، كانوا عايزين يفهموا the mechanics behind the nest uniquely flexible yet cohesive structure properties، كانوا عايزين يفهموا ميكانيكية خصائص الايه العش بتاع الطيور. فالإجابة is letter A as and said for sure. It's letter A. Okay, thank you, Anne. Ahmed, number 15.
Yes, Mr.
Yeah, please answer number 15.
Microbes are tiny organisms in the soil, water, and air all around us. They thrive even in very harsh conditions. That's why Noah, Führer, and colleagues were surprised when soil samples they collected from an extremely cold, dry area in Antarctica didn't seem to contain any life. The finding doesn't prove that there are no microbes in that area, but the team says it does just suggest that the environment severely restricts microbe survival. Microbes are found in virtually every environment on Earth, so it's unlikely they would be completely absent from Führer's team's study site. No matter how extreme the environment is, there were probably so few organisms in the samples that current technology couldn't detect them. But since a spoonful of typical soil elsewhere might contain billions of microbes, the presence of so few in the Antarctic soil samples would show how challenging the conditions are. Based on the text, Führer's teams and the author of text 2 would most likely agree and with statement about microbes.
Question say based on the text, the Führer's teams and the author of the text 2 will most likely agree with which statement about microbes. We have kind of information about the microbes, letter A and text A and text 1 and 2. And the question says what would they agree about؟ يعني اتنين بيتفقوا على ايه بالظبط بقى؟
Mr. C.
Are likely difficult to detect in the soil at the Antarctic study site because they tend to be smaller than microbes found typical soil elsewhere. Okay, do we have anything that they speak about that they are smaller than? Now we have a comparison between any types of microbes. يعني في أي مقارنة ما بين الميكروبات اللي بتعيش مثلا في ال Antarctic areas and the other areas, the tropical one؟ ما فيش أي مقارنة أعتقد، لأن الليتر سي بيقول إن هم إيه الموجودة في الأنتاركتيك صغير، حجمهم صغير، لذلك ما عملهمش عملية ديتكشن يعني ما قدروش إن هم يحددوا إذا كانوا موجودين ولا لأ. For both texts nothing of this is existed، يعني مش حاجة من دي موجودة أصلا يعني. فاهم؟ So it's not letter C. Were the microbes completely absent or they were existed regarding to the two texts right here? When we look at the text one, as I mentioned, the finding doesn't prove الإجابات ما أثبتتش that there are no microbes، يعني مفيش أصلا، يعني ما فيش خالص أي ميكروبات in this area، أي area الأنتاركتيكا هو كان بيتكلم عليها. but the team says that does just suggest that the environment severely restrict microbes survival. هي بتحدد وتقيد من حياة الميكروبس في المنطقة ديت، يعني طبقا للظروف المناخية هناك. تمام، بس ما فيش اي اثبات ان هو قال ان ما فيش يعني عدم وجودهم اطلاقا، يعني معنى كده يعني most of them can't live there، معظمهم ما قدروش يعيشوا، but few of them can survive. قليل او عدد قليل منهم يقدر ايه يعيش، يعني thrive and survive over there، يقدر يتعايش هناك يعني. تمام، لان هنا الاجابات اللي قالوها ما اثبتتش ان كلهم ما قدروش يعيشوا. تمام، طيب لو احنا when you look at text 2 says well so it's unlikely they would be completely absent. فمن غير المحتمل ان هم يكونوا بشكل كامل غير موجودين يعني. تمام، no matter how extreme the environment is، يعني there will be few of them at least، يعني على الاقل هيبقى في ايه عدد قليل من هناك. but the technology provided، التكنولوجيا الموجوده couldn't spot them couldn't detect them، ما قدرتش تحدد وجودهم يعني. تمام، فهم متفقين على كده. الاجابات اللي هناك ما اثبتتش ان عدم وجودهم بشكل نهائي. والتكست تو بول برضو it's unlikely to be. okay fine. That's the absence or will be unlikely completely absent يعني it's unlikely to be existed over there. معنى كده there are few numbers of the microbes living over there يعني في عدد ايه قليل على الاقل عايشين هناك. هما بيتفقوا على الحاجتين دول صح كده؟ طيب what do you think the answer is؟
Yes. Uh, Mr.
Mhm.
A.
Most microbes are better able to survive environments with extremely dry conditions than environments with harsh temperature. Than the environment with harsh temperature.
Or wait, no, it's
They
not
were
A.
focusing about the cold temperature actually, because we have the Antarctic. That's not very yes.
Mr. So it's D.
Yeah. Most microbes are probably unable to withstand to the soil condition at the Antarctic study site. وما بيتكلموا على مركزين في الايديا ده من idea of the text number 1 about the area of the Antarctic area. I mean the study site of the Antarctic area. So it's gonna be letter D for sure. Most of them can't survive over there. معظمهم ما يقدروش ان هم يتعايشوا ويعيشوا هناك. But there will be few of them. هيكون في قليل. But they couldn't detect them. ما يقدروش ان هم يحددوهم. Maybe regarding to the current technology. التكنولوجيا الموجودة حاليا can't spot or detect any of the microbes or most of them or all of them together. يعني كلهم مع بعض. Or any of them at least. But they confess هم بيعترفوا regarding the two texts that they are existed. هم عايشين يعني. Okay, but there will be kind of restrictions في قيود and barriers right here regarding to the conditions, the climate conditions and the Antarctic area يعني. طبعا إجابة the answer will be letter D as you say. Okay, thank you Ahmed. Let's see here number 14. Whose turn is it? Whose turn is it for number 14? Ziad, is it your turn? Ziad is not here. Okay, I think Malak Faris or who else? Let me see.
Mr. Amir.
Yeah, answer please.
Do I read both of the six?
Yeah, you read the question based on the text, but both authors would mostly likely agree with which statement. بيتفقوا على أي statement right here for both of them.
Okay.
Hmm.
Thanks choreographer Alvin Ali's deep admiration for jazz music can most clearly be felt in the rhythms and beats in his works were set to Ailey collaborated with some of the greatest jazz legends like Charles Mingus, Charlie Parker, and perhaps his favorite, Duke Ellington. With his choice of music, Ali helped him bring jazz to life for his audience. Jazz is present throughout Ali's work, but it's most visible in Ali's approach to choreography. Ali often incorporated improvisations, a signature characteristic of jazz music in his work. When managing his dance company, Ali rarely forced his dancers to an exact set of specific moves. Instead, he encouraged his dancers to let their own skills and experience shape their performance, as jazz musicians do. What is D? I can't see D. Can you go down a bit?
Okay.
Is it A? قصدي B. I mean B.
That he was influenced, or his work was influenced by the jazz, right? Yeah, I take it
Yes.
according to the common sense right here. Yeah, the answer is letter B actually. They say that the dance choreographers Alvin, KTB, and admiration for jazz music can most clearly be felt in the rhythm and the beats. Speak about that he was admired of the jazz music actually, and that was really perceptible and was noticed or observable in his own rhythm and beats in his work في أعماله يعني فكان ده موضح إعجابه بالإيه بالجاز music كده. طيب early collaborated with some of the greatest jazz legends like Charles and others عمل اتحاد مع بعض الليجندز أساطير الموسيقى الجاز and with his choice of music really helped to bring jazz to life for his audience مع التعاون ده طبعا ساعد ان هو يعمل عملية إحضار للموسيقى الجاز للأودينس للمستمعين بتوعه وهكذا. طبعا كده he was strongly affected and influenced by the jazz music. طبعا كان عنده عملية إعجاب وكان متأثر جدا بالإيه أعمال الجاز لذلك كانت واضحة فين في الموسيقى بتاعته. طيب تكسته بيقول إيه طيب jazz present throughout Ell's work طبعا تم تقديمه من أعمال إلي but ولكن most visible in Ell's approach to the geography early often incorporated improvisation signature characteristics of the jazz music in his work. كان بيختار حاجات معينة من الجاز music في الأعمال بتاعته. Okay. When managing his dance company for example لما كان بيدير شركة الرقص بتاعته Eddie really forced the dancers to an exact set of the specific moves instead كانش بيجبرهم انهم يقوموا بعض الأعمال الخاصة بالجاز نفسها ولكن بدلا من ذلك he encourages dancers كان بيشجع الرقاصين عندهم to let their own skills and experience shape their performance as jazz musicians do. يعملوا يعني يلاقي الأداء بتاعهم يشكل أداء حركاتهم وأدائهم زي jazz musicians do زي موسيقيين الجاز بيعملوا بالظبط. معنى كده إن هو كان completely affected and influenced by the jazz music يعني. فالاثنين بعبروا هنا about his own that he was commonly influenced and affected by the jazz music that was shown in his own works كانت موضحة في أعماله. And it was when he even managed one of the companies, he asked his dancer to do the same like jazz musicians. إنهم يقوموا بعمل نفس الشيء زي الموسيقارين أو المختصين بموسيقى الجاز. That's why the answer will be Ellis' work was strongly influenced by jazz. أعماله كانت متأثرة بطريقة قوية جدا بموسيقى الإيه؟ الجاز. So it was letter B. طيب. When we answer such a question right here, try to get the general idea of each text. انت بتحاول توضح او تجيب الفكره الرئيسيه بتاعت كل تكست عندك و make comparison between both of them وتعمل مقارنه ما بينهم يعني do they agree with each other بيتفقوا مع بعض or there's kind of a clashing or argument في جدال في debate مثلا between both of them or challenging في هنا تحدي ما بين الاثنين يعني and the text to challenge the first text one or he agrees both of them are in coherence together يعني في هنا اتفاق ما بينهم فتحدد الفكرة الأولى هنا والفكرة الثانية هنا وتعمل مقارنة ما بينهم. That's why you answered and that way you answer such a question. جاوب على السؤال بالطريقة ديت. طيب. Let's see number 13. يا ملك please. وسامع. Whose turn is it? Yes,
Me
ملك.
or
يا
Buzz?
ملك. Okay, ملك answer.
Okay. Which choice best states the main purpose of the text? Years ago, a grave American savant, being in London, observed at an evening party there a certain fellow, as he thought, an absurd ribbon in his lapel and full of smart banter, whisking about to the admiration of as many as were disposed to admire. Great was the savant's disdain, but chancing ere long to find himself, chancing ere long to find himself in a corner with a jacknut. What? got into conversation with him when he has somewhat ill prepared for the good sense of the jackknives, but was altogether thrown aback upon subsequently being informed that he was no less a personage than Sir Humphrey what is
Okay, Kuksum kill and the word jackknifes, both of them means the one who has self-pride. شخص عنده إيه؟ تفخر بنفسه يعني. One one. Yes. This will be.
So like it's a American guy in London thinking that he's like he has high ego. He has a high ego.
Yeah, that's it.
Something.
Yeah.
Okay.
He thought, as I mentioned right here, because we're speaking about two characters, right? And years ago, Grave American Seventh, like a scientist, an American one. Okay. He was in being in London, he observed at an evening party that he was in an evening party, okay, in London. This seventh, or the American scientist. And he observed what exactly, because this is a verb, and then we have the object here. The certain comic kill fellows, okay, someone who's a little bit has self-pride, شخص عنده فخر بنفسه, has self-ego, okay, as he thought, كما اعتقد يعني. We're speaking about the American Seventh's opinion in that film. كان بيتكلم على رأيه فين؟ في الفيلم ده he has a self-pride. يعني هو كان بيعتقد إن هو عنده إيه؟ تفخر بنفسه يعني كما اعتقد. unobserved weapon in his label, then we give like descriptions بيوصف بقى الحدث نفسه. بيتكلم على unobserved weapon like شريط كده سخيف on his label على سترة الجاكيت بتاعته, and full of smart bantering. كان لديه حديث طبعا ايه ذكي, فلسه بيوصف الشخص ده. Whisking about to the admiration of as many.
Also here it says the seventh disdain, so he didn't like the guy.
Let's see.
So the American.
So, whisking about the admiration of as many as were disposed to admire. كل ده وصف للشخص ده, تمام. بيجذب إعجاب أي شخص مستعد يعجب بيه. Great was the seventh disdain, but chancing era longed to find himself in a corner. كان في زاوية was the jackanapes مع الشخص المغرور اللي هو بيعتقد إنه مغرور. Got into conversation وبدأ في محادثة معاه when he was somewhat ill prepared for the gut sense of the jackanapes. Okay, وهو غير جاهز وغير مستعد وخايف من محادثته الذكية, تمام. But was altogether thrown a pack upon subsequently being informed. فاندهش لما عرف إن الشخص ده, okay,
is it B?
No less personage than it presents an account of misunderstanding. Yeah, what do you think?
It's B.
Yeah, why?
He thought he was like he had a high ego, but upon talking to him, he realized he's.
Yeah, that's it. This is the idea right here. Okay, because after talking to him, for example, a little bit, later on, subsequently, he was informed that he was just like a personage than Sir Humphrey Davy. Okay, as it mentioned right here, Humphrey Davy, a prominent British chemist and inventor over there, because they're going to be like a prominent and important personage or a person, شخص بارز وهام يعني. That's why he saw that the man has a kind of self-ego or has a kind of pride or self-pride. Okay, but he was acting, what I mean here, normally regarding to his own position or regarding to his own occupation, regarding to his own fame and celebrity like so. Okay, after talking to him, he has recognized. I mean, all of this was kind of what misunderstanding يعني كان سوء ايه سوء فهم طبعا. The answer will be letter B. It presents an account of misunderstanding. طيب. To understand such like question, because there sounds to be intricate sentence or intricate phrases, we try to eliminate all the additional phrases and we focus on the subject and the verb and the object. يعني مثلا على سبيل المثال, the first sentence, American Seventh بيتكلم على عالم أمريكي عمل ايه observed at an evening party the certain fellow. يعني لاحظ شخص معين معقد أو شخص سوري مغرور يعني as he thought كما اعتقد. Okay, طيب كل اللي جاي بعدها unobserved all of these to the end here unobserved ribbon in his label, full smart panther, whisking about all these kind of all of them are additional phrases يعني ومعلومات إضافية you can eliminate them تقدر تشيلها. The main focus on the subject and the verb, and even if we have an object يعني فعل وفعل والمفعول. فأنا فهمت من الجملة الأولى أمريكان سيفنت عالم أمريكي لاحظ في حفلة مسائية شخص مغرور. هذه صوت كما اعتقد. خلاص أنا خلصت من الجملة دي, مش لازم أركز على الحدث اللي جاي بعدها. طب الجملة اللي بعدها بتقول لي اللي بتبدأ ببيريود وتنتهي ببيريود. Great was the seventh disdain, but chancing longed to find himself in a corner with the jackanapes, got into conversation. So he found himself, or to find himself, وجد نفسه. Okay, so speaking about the American seventh as a subject يعني فعل أساسي. تمام. وجد نفسه مع نفس الشخص and then got into conversation ودخل في محادثة معاه. اوكي طيب when he was but طب انا عندي هنا ايه؟ في هنا مقارنة use but like coordinating conjunction to show contrast was altogether thrown back اندهش when he knew that he was like a very important person like a personage dancer Humphrey Davy اللي هو كان موجود في أول الباراجراف to be a prominent Britishman. طيب the usage of the word as he thought فأعتقد إن هو شخص مغرور ولما دخل معاه في محادثة أخيرا في الآخر خالص أعتقد إن هو أو عارف إن هو شخص يعني معروف ومشهور وهكذا فكان رأيه فيه في البداية كان عبارة عن misunderstanding يعني. Okay طيب do we have to read all of these you try to eliminate the sentences تحاول إن أنت تزيل some of the phrases or any additional phrases العبارات الإضافية and you focus on the subject and the verb and the object فاعل وفعل ومفعول for the sentence to understand it عشان نقدر نفهم الجملة بتتكلم عن إيه. فالجملة الأولى حددنا منها إن هو لاحظ شخص اعتقد إنه مغرور والجملة الثانية حددنا إن هو لما دخل معاه في محادثة he was informed أخبر إن هو شخص اسمه سير هامفري ديفي اللي هو كان شخص مشهور وهكذا. فكل ده بيمثل سوء تفاهم أو سوء فهم يعني بالنسبة له. That's why the answer would be letter B. طيب let's see the rest of them. Number 12. Yes, Rinal, think.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah, please.
Okay, which choice completes the text with the most logical and precise word or phrase? A brief book review cannot fully convey the blank of Olga novel, The Book of Jacob, with its enormous cast of characters, its complicated wandering plot, and page numbers that count backwards, beginning at 965 and ending at 1. Oh, okay. I don't think it's A or B.
Yes, you're right.
Is it C?
Yeah, why?
Because it's explaining how it's complex.
Yeah, because it's described directly to be complicated, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. A pre-book cannot fully convey the of Olga novel. We're speaking here about a novel. How would we describe the novel right here? Because this is the word or the noun that's supposed to be described by one of the missing one of the options what I mean in the missing part واحد من الاختيارات اللي المفروض تتحط يعني or to place here. Okay. طيب accuracy دقة inactivity على النشاط complexity تعقيدها وأمر معقد restrained مقيد. طيب the information coming after it اللي جاي بعدها توضح أنا عايز أختار أي how would we describe ازاي نوصفها يعني. فقلنا was it's enormous we're still speaking about the novel بنتكلم عن الرواية was its enormous cast of characters عدد هائل من الشخصيات في الرواية دي its complicated wandering plot والplot الحبكة الدرامية المعقدة المليئة بالتساؤلات. Okay, so all of these are complicated. I mean here the novel itself was really complicated كانت معقدة regarding to the existence of enormous cast of characters طبقا لطبعا عدد الشخصيات الكتير and the complicated plot والحبكة الدرامية المعقدة too. So it's not accuracy مش دقة تمام not inactivity مش عدم نشاط or restraint أو تقييد but complexity اللي هو إيه طبعا التعقيدات الخاصة بالإيه بالقصة نفسها تمام. So choose letter C as Renal said. Okay طيب this for number 12. Let's see here number 11 who's after Renal. Malak Basil I think. Is it Malak Basil?
Yeah, I think it's my turn.
Or Zain? Malak Basil. Yeah, Malak, yes.
Okay. I should read the two texts, right?
Yeah, read the question first.
Wait.
Based on the text, okay, في Mahoney, text 1, and General et al. Text 2, well aware of the findings of both experiments, they would mostly agree with which statement. لو كان عندهم وعي of the findings إيجاد ال two experiments التجربتين. So we're asked about two experiments من السير على تجربتين موجودين في كل تكست وكل واحدة في تكست يعني معين. They would mostly agree هتفقوا على أي جملة من الموجودة تحت. تمام؟ So we try to focus on the experiment for both text and we try to find out the differences or the similarities between both of them. يعني الاختلاف أو التشابه ما بينهم يعني. تمام.
Okay.
اوكي.
Text one says soy sauce made from fermented soybeans is noted for its umami flavor. Umami are one of the 5 basic tastes, along with sweet, bitter, salty, and sour, was formally classified when its taste receptors were discovered in the 2000s in 2007. To define the pure umami flavor, scientists Sri Ishii and Michael Ohamahu used the
Broth.
broths made from shiitake mushrooms and gombo seaweed, and 2 panels of Japanese and US judges closely agreed on a description. On a description of the tastes. Okay, text 2 says a 2022 experiment by Manon Jonger et al. Led to a greater understanding of soy sauce's flavor profile. The team initially presented a mixture of compounds with low molecular weights to taste testers, who found it was not as salty or bitter as real soy sauce. Further analysis of soy sauce identified proteins, including dipeptides, that enhanced umami flavor and also contributed to saltiness. The team then made a mix of 50 chemical compounds that recreated soy sauce flavor. Okay. Can I see the letters? So letter A is wrong. I think sorry, can I see the letter D? Okay. So I think the correct one is B, I think.
You know that the active both the umami and salty taste receptors tend to have higher molecular weight than those that only activate umami taste receptors. But there is not a comparison between the molecular weight for both of them. I think the chemical compound that activate both the umami and salty taste receptors tend to have a higher molecular weight than those that only activate. No, they're not focusing on the molecular weight for both of them. One of these.
Also, it will be C.
Fermentations introduces the proteins responsible for the increase of umami flavor in soy sauce, and the proteins also increase the perceptions of the saltiness. Letter C, they speak about the introduce the proteins responsible for the increase of umami flavor. Fermentation right here. Always have nuclear weights to the taste to found out that the pillars further analyze of the second protein, including that's the umami. What enhances the umami flavor and also contribute to saltiness in text 2? Because I was speaking about the umami flavor, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what enhanced the umami flavor and also contributed to the saltiness in their own experiment when they used exactly right here the soy sauce. Yes, and then experiment. So what did they find exactly in the soy sauce that would enhance the umami flavor؟ يعني هما كانوا عايزين يختبروا الامامي فليفر تمام في الصويا صوص نفسها. فلما حللوا الصويا صوص وجدوا ايه؟ في ماده معينه موجوده هناك بتعزز وتعطي الطعم اللي هو umami flavor ده. صح كده؟ ف we'll say further analysis of soy sauce identified proteins including dipeptides that enhanced umami flavor. والبروتين اللي بيشمل dipeptides enhanced بيدعم umami flavor بيعززه and also contribute to the saltiness, right? Okay. That's why they were able to make around 50 chemical compounds later on, recreating the soy sauce using what these peptides and others to make this a flavor يعني the soy sauce. Letter A says what the pure umami flavor scientists Reishi and the other one used broth استخدموا مرقة معينة وإحساء معين made from shiitake mushrooms and kombu seaweed, and two panels of the Japanese agreed with the taste or description of the taste itself. Classified. So we're speaking about the main differences between both of them right here. The first one, then speak about the protein. ما كلموش على protein, including the this part of that will enhance the umami flavor. تمام, that is mentioned right here. There was the peptides, and the other one, it didn't have it. Okay, I want you to read letter D. Read letter D, can't check it. The pros in 2007 experiment.
Most likely didn't have a substantial amount of the diabetes,
Yeah. The
that
peptides.
played
That played a key
peptides
part.
that
Yeah.
played a key part in the 2022 experiment. I think it's
Yeah, it's literally why, because the
correct.
second one was focusing on the main idea for the second one was speaking about the existence of the peptides that contribute and enhance the umami flavor for the soy sauce. Okay. The other one was trying to do the same like the soy sauce to get the same flavor over there. Is a proto like broth يعني مرقة معينة made of the shiitake, whatever the name is, mushrooms and the other seaweed, مع السويد يعني, that would help them to get the flavor يعني تساعدهم انهم يحصلوا على الفليفر نفسه. But they didn't analyze it to focus on this part or these molecules that would give them the flavor of the umami one. That's why the answer would be letter D. طيب احنا نعمل الفليفرز والحاجات دي. الله المستعان. Let's see here the other question, number 10. Whose turn is it right now? مين بعد مالك؟ Do I have to choose? Yazin? Huh?
All right, sir.
Mhm.
Yawn contagion occurs when one individual yawns in the response to another yawn. Studies of this behavior in primates have focused on populations in captivity, but biologist Elizabetta Palagi, I think that's how it's pronounced, and her colleagues have shown that it can occur in wild primate populations as well. In their study, which focused on a wild population of Gelada monkeys in Ethiopia, the researchers further reported that yawn contagion most commonly occurred in males and across different social groups instead of within a single social group. All right. Oh, it's B.
Introduce a
Introduces
problem. What is the problem in
Yes.
the underlying part? See, yawn contagion occurs when one individual yawns in response to another yawn. They describe something called yawn contagion. What is it? It's it occurs when one individual yawns in response to another one. So what the answer is?
A.
Defines a phenomena. Yeah, that is discussed in the text. Yes, okay, we have a definition right here. عندنا تعريف لفينومينا معينة لظاهرة معينة اسمها يومن contagion. طيب ايه التعريف بتاعها؟ هي بتحدث when one individual yawns لما حد بيتثاوب in response to another yawn، استجابة لحد تاني بيتثاوب قدامه يعني. تمام؟ فده تعريف يعني. طيب discuss later on in the text. When I read the rest of the text I'll find out that is discussed in details، بيتم مناقشتها بالتفصيل يعني. Okay. So the answer should would be letter A. Yes. which choice best describe the function. احنا بنتكلم على وظيفة ال underline sentence، الجملة اللي تحتها خط هنا. The first sentence is the text as whole. It shows the definition roughly أو بتعطيني وصف وتعريف to the phenomena للوظيفة للظاهرة سوري that is discussed in the text اللي بيتم مناقشتها فين في النص نفسه. That's why we choose letter D. Okay. If we choose letter B introduces a problem مفيش مشكلة هنا خلاص بنتكلم عنها. So it's not a rate just a phenomena عبارة عن ظاهرة. It makes a claim that is a challenge in the text فبتعمل هنا زعم حد بيclaim something. There is no kind of claim مفيش أي افتراضية ولا زعم على حاجة معينة. So it's not letter C. Present hypothesis في افتراضية that is evaluated. There is no any kind of hypothesis here. مفيش أي افتراضيات خالص. احنا بنتكلم بس على تعريف ظاهرة معينة directly. So it's not letter D for sure. And it's letter A. طيب. بسم الله. Let's see this to them. Number 9. Whose turn is it? Ahmed?
Yes, okay. Africa's Sahara region, once a lush ecosystem, began to dry out about 8,000 years ago. A change in Earth's orbit that affected climate has been posited as a cause of desertification, but archaeologist David Wright also attributes the shift to Neolithic peoples. He cites the adoption of pastoralism as a factor in the region drying out. The pastoralists' livestock depleted vegetation, permitting the events that created the Sahara Desert. Research by Chris Beerley et al. Challenges the idea that Neolithic peoples contributed to the Sahara's desertification using a climate vegetation model. The team concluded that the end of the region's humid period occurred 500 years earlier than previously assumed. The timing suggests that Neolithic peoples didn't exacerbate aridity in the region, but in fact may have helped delay environmental changes with practices, etc., selective grazing that preserved vegetation. Based on the text, how would Chris Burley, text 2, most likely respond to the discussion in text 1? Mr. A?
Yeah, the answer for sure is right. Here he says he challenged the idea. When we look at the text number 1, right here, we say the African Sahara region began to dry out about 8,000 years ago. فبنتكلم على الصحراء region زي الصحراء الأفريقي طبعا بدأ يجف 8,000 سنة منذ 8,000 سنة. طيب إيه السبب؟ A change in the Earth's orbit تغير في دوران الأرض that affected the climate اللي أثر على المناخ had been posited as a cause of desertification سبب في عملية التصحر وجفاف الصحراء ديزرت يعني بنتكلم على تغير في دوران الأرض. ولكن the archaeologist David Wright also attributes the shift to the Neolithic people. Okay. فقال أو أحد الأسباب الأساسية طبعا Neolithic people. مين Neolithic people ده عملوا إيه؟ He said their adoption of pastoralism. طبعا هنا كان بوضح إن هم تبنيهم لعملية الرعي as a factor in the region drying out في المنطقة اللي تم فيها الجفاف. Has prompting to the events that created the Sahara Desert أدت إلى أسباب جفاف وتصحر المنطقة ديت. فده كانت الفكرة الرئيسية بتاعت التكست 1. كان حاطط الأول claim أو a reason why it has dried out ليه تم جفافها because the orbit or the shift in the Earth's orbit that affected the climate or shift in the Earth's orbit يعني تغيرات في دوران الأرض. ده أحد الأسباب. جه عالم تاني قال لنا سبب تاني خالص إن Neolithic people تمام had adopt or those who adopt the pastoralism اللي بيتبنوا الرعي تمام سببوا في عملية الجفاف للإيه للصحراء للمنطقة ديت وأصبحت صحراء. فعندنا سببين في التكست 1. طيب تكست 2 بيقول إيه؟ research by Chris et al. Challenges the idea. ده بحث تاني خالص بيتحدى الفكرة ديت فإنه ضد الفكرة ديت اللي هي فكرة عن إيه بالظبط؟ that the Neolithic people الناس دي contributed to the Sahara desertification إن هم تسببوا في عملية الإيه؟ تصحر المنطقة ديت. فبوضح بقى لأن الوقت المعين اللي تم إعطائه using climate vegetation model, the team concluded that the end of the region humid period occurred 500 years earlier than the previously assumed. Okay. إن هو كان 500 سنة قبل المنطقة ديت. معنى كده إن هم كان حصل عملية تصحر قبل ما يكونوا أصلا هم موجودين في المنطقة. تمام، لأن الفترة قال 8000 سنة، ولكن لا، ده 500 سنة قبل وجودهم أصلا في المنطقة ديت يعني. فهم ما لهمش they didn't have any kind of contribution in the desertification. ما كانش ليهم أي مساهمات في عملية التصحر طبقا للدليل اللي هم استخدموه. تمام. طيب. The question says what right here, based on the text, how would Chris Paralytics 2 most likely respond to the discussion? ازاي طبعا استجاب او رد على المناقشة في التكست 1 ده الزعم بتاعهم يعني by pointing out that giving the revised timeline 500 years ago for the end of the Sahara's humid period, the Neolithic people mode of subsistence likely didn't cause the region desertification. مش هم السبب الرئيسي او هم ما تسببوش في عملية الايه التصحر. والدليل اللي كان موجود في التكست 2 لانه لنا تشالنج، هو تحدى الفكرة دي. معنى كده تشالنج ده mean he was against this idea، كان ضدها. and he brought an evidence، جاب دليل that weakened this idea، اللي أضعف الزعم ده أو الفكرة ديت يعني. تمام. the Neolithic people were the reason why there was kind of desertification، كان سبب الإيه عملية التصحر. that's why we choose letter A. ممتاز. Number 8. Whose turn is it? Who's after Ahmed? Anne, I think.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and please answer. Number 8.
Okay. In the 1970s, the radio camera became increasingly affordable for ordinary consumers and gave high profit.
Jenkins? Ulysses Jenkins, yes.
Okay, yes. And other artists believed they were previously unavailable. That was television, but Jenkins recognized and took full advantage of this access to powerful technology to create groundbreaking work of video art, such a mass amateur. I think it's A.
Yeah, and you found why?
Because it said here it's new and they just discovered.
Yeah, it had just been discovered. Excellent. Yes. The answer yes is letter A, as we say right here. The video cameras became increasingly affordable for the ordinary consumers in 1970. فالاورديناري كونسيومر مستهلكين عاديين اصبحوا يقدروا يشتروا الفيديو كاميراز يعني. Okay. And gave Jenkins and other artists capabilities that were previously unavailable except to the television broadcasters. فأعطاهم طبعا بعض الامتيازات والقدرات اللي كانت فقط متاحة إلى التلفزيون broadcasters المذيعين التلفزيونيين. تمام. طيب Jenkins recognized and took full advantage of this access to the powerful with technology. We're speaking about the access. Speaking about recently discovered and recently or has been become available recently أصبح حديثا متاح ليهم يعني. Okay. That they were able, that became cheaper، أصبحت أرخص، that the ordinary consumers المستهلكين العاديين were able to afford its expenses or its cost. كان يعني طبعا متاح ليهم ان هم يشتروا الايه الفيديو كاميرا. That's why because it's described to be affordable. When you afford something or something that's affordable, that we can buy it. نقدر نشتري. We can purchase it. We can afford its cost or its expenses. نتحمل نفقات. نقدر نتحمل نفقات. So you describe the access that it's a new found. It became recently available. أصبح حديثا متاح for everybody to buy. يعني هم يقدروا يشتروا. Okay. That's why we chose letter A as answered. Okay, nice. Number 7. Yes, was after N. Ziad, I think.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Which choice best states the main purpose of the text? You're asking about the main purpose of the text itself. What is it?
I went on with my day's business tranquilly, but ever and anon vague suggestions kept wandering across my brain of reasons why I should quit Thornfield, and I kept involuntarily framing advertisements, and pondering conjectures about new situations. These thoughts I did not think to check. They might germinate and bear fruit if they could.
The word but, you got the answer.
I'm thinking.
You understand the text?
Yes.
Okay. What's the main purpose of the text right here? Jane
I
works as
think
what?
it's C.
Okay, she works as a governess.
Yes.
Yeah, like nanny مربية يعني at Thornfield Holt. Okay. She said at the beginning she is the one who's speaking. يعني هي بتتكلم دلوقتي فهي بتقول ايه؟ I went on with my day's business tranquilly. That she's feeling well, calmly, quietly. Tranquilly means like calmly, quietly, with easiness. يعني هي comfortably يعني مرتاحة وهي ايه بتستمر في أعمالها اليومية. تمام؟ But ولكن ever unknown sorry vague suggestion اقتراحات kept wandering across my brain. في حاجات كده بتظهر في عقلها of reasons why I should quit Thornfield. أسباب ليه يجب إن أنا أستقيل من الإيه؟ من الوظيفة على الرغم إن هي إيه؟ بتقوم بأعمالها يوميا بهدوء وكل حاجة يعني she's not like grumbling or even complaining as it is visible for the others يعني كما هو موضح للناس. تمام؟ فاهم علي؟ But she has like some suggestions اقتراحات كده تجيلها إن هي لازم تستقيل من إيه؟ من شغلها. So there is kind of but, we have but right here that will shows contrast, contradiction, controversial situation. موقف تناقض هنا صح؟ لأنها مرتاحة في شغلها وبتعمل شغلها بارتياح ولكن من الداخل she wants to quit عايزة تستقيل. What is the answer؟
C.
C. His situation was challenging and deeply fulfilling? No. Was it mentioned that she is calm and she has outer calmness? Outward
A.
calmness? Yeah, what's the answer?
A.
Yeah. To convey contrast في هنا تناقض between Jane's outward calmness ما بين هدوءها الخارجي الظاهري يعني because she says she went on her business tranquilly بكل هدوء بتشتغل مفيش مشاكل بالنسبة لها and internal restlessness okay that she's not feeling very well internally من الداخل يعني okay because why she has like thoughts أفكار that she has to quit her job لازم تستقيل من وظيفتها she's not feeling well regarding to her internal situation, but regarding to the external one, she's feeling like comfortable and so on. That's why there's kind of contrast, as I mentioned, في تناقض هنا between her outward status and between her internal status. يعني تناقض ما بين حالتها الخارجية وهي بتقوم بالشغل and her internal one حالتها الداخلية. That's why I chose letter A. طيب. Let's see number yes ملك فارس number 6. ملك.
Sorry. Which choice best describes the function of the underlined portion of the text as a whole? According to historian, a Mexican-American woman made crucial contributions to the labor movement during World War II. At the time, food processing companies entered into contracts to supply United States Armed Forces with canned goods. Increased production quotas conferred greater bargaining power on the company's employees, many of whom were Mexican-American women. Employees insisted on more favorable benefits, and employees who were anxious to fulfill the contracts complied. Thus, labor activism became a platform for Mexican-American women to assert their agency. Okay. So
The underline part is like one sentence or two sentences? I mean, just one clause or two clause?
Hmm?
The underline part, is it one clause or two clauses? Two sentences or one?
two.
Two clauses, right? What is the relationship between both of them? What is the subject of the first one and the verb of the first and the subject of the second and the verb? Let's say,
First, it's talking about the employees, so the Mexican American woman, I think.
yeah, the employees insisted on more favorable benefit, that they wanted more allowance,
Yeah,
more money,
and the
right?
employers, they were
On,
anxious, so they
yeah, they
complied
comply to what?
to their argument. They wanted more
Yeah,
favorable
that's it.
benefits.
Excellent, for sure. Yes.
Okay. I don't think it's D. It didn't talk about the people specifically, just what they did.
Okay, yes.
Hmm.
Mister, how much time is left?
10 minutes. Mhm.
I don't think it's A either.
There's not why it's not A. Does not show any kind of relation between the employees and the employers.
Oh wait, yeah, it does.
And this was made earlier in the text because you say regarding to the Second World War II. This is for the summarize the text, right? There was a
Yeah,
kind
what
of
they made.
war, yeah, and there were kind of requirements for more food regarding to the war itself. That why they led kind of contributions to the women, and then the women came to asking the employers, sorry, for more benefits, because they utilized the situation, استغلوا الموقف يعني, and the employers complied. أصحاب العمل
So
طبعا
it's
وافقوا
A.
because they were anxious, yes. So the underlying part right here, yeah, shows that there was kind of relationship between the employees and between the employer themselves. When the employees asked for more benefits, لما طلبوا طبعا انهم ياخدوا salary اكتر، رواتب اكتر مثلا، وبنفيت افضل، طبعا the employers الموظفين العمل complied، استجابوا للطلب ده regarding that they were anxious لانهم كانوا طبعا عندهم حالة من التوتر to fulfill the contracts هم يقدروا ينجزوا الايه العقودات الخاصة because they asked for more food and more requirements and so on. That's why the answer will be letter A for sure. Yes. And such a text to try to summarize the main idea of the paragraph. بنحاول إن احنا نلخص الفكرة الرئيسية بتاعت الفكرة. Okay. Like in a sentence, two sentences at least, then you try to compare between one of the options with the main idea. بنقارن ما بين طبعا الأوبشنز والفكرة الرئيسية. طيب. Number 7. Number 5, sorry. Yes, Nell.
I think it's my turn.
Yeah, Mr. Malik. Yes.
Okay, which choice best states the function of the underlined portion in the text as a whole?
Mhm.
Researchers have found a nearly Bismillah. Okay, 1,064,000-year-old molar from a member of the archaic human species known as, okay, in a cave in Laos, suggesting that lived in a wider range of environments than indicated by earlier evidence. Before the discovery, were thought to have lived only at high altitudes in relatively cold climates in what are now Russia and China. But the discovery of the tooth in Laos suggests that they may have lived at low altitudes in relatively warm climates in Southeast Asia as well. Wait, what does it mean that I have to choose the best state that function of underline? Like
Yeah,
the question.
to know what is the function of the underlying part.
Okay.
It's function يعني وظيفته ايه يبقى ليه موجود underlying part ده for which reason.
It's not B
Mhm.
or A.
Not B, not A.
Yes.
This misses yes. No letter A, I agree with you. And not letter B, I agree with as well. Defines a term. There is no term to be defined by it. Yes.
Is it D?
Yeah. Why do you think it's there D?
Because we're mentioning about how they lived in cold climates in Russia, and that's just extra information to
Mhm.
make sense for
Yeah, what
the
comes after
discovery.
because it's like provides context that clarify the significance of the information that follows the rest of the sentence. So speaking here about the information that follows right here about the discovery of the tooth, those suggest that they may have lived at low latitude and warm climates in the South Asia as well. Okay. So yes, the answer is letter D, as long as on the land bar shows the clarification to the sentence that comes after the significance of the sentence that would follow it. بتوضح طبعا أهمية الجملة اللي جاية بعدها because the whole main idea right here they are discussing something يعني هو بناقشوا شيء معين. They have discovered like a tooth or the molar as I mentioned as a tooth or there's يعني for a person or some individuals or some humans called Denisovans. طيب there was a kind of suggestion كان في اقتراح that they lived in a kind of area or an evidence but this evidence the new evidence الدليل الجديد proved that they lived in another area too عاش في منطقة تانية لها wider range of environments that indicated by the earlier evidence right here. Okay طيب before the discovery قبل الاكتشاف ده they were thought to have lived only at high altitude. فكان في اعتقادهم عاشوا فقط في الهاي altitude الارتفاعات عالية. relatively cold climates في الأماكن الباردة. in what are in Russia and China. يعني هم اعتقدوا إنهم كانوا عايشين فقط في روسيا والصين. ولكن but after this discovery بعد الاكتشاف they discovered one of the tooth or one of their molar in such another area in منطقة تانية خالص. Okay, so there will be a kind of possibility في احتمال تاني خالص that they lived in another area عاشوا في مناطق تانية منطقة تانية like Asia. ده مثلا في آسيا مثلا climate southeast of Asia like so. Okay. So the underlined part, as I mentioned right here, shows or provide the context that would clarify the significance of the information. بوضح طبعا المعلومات اللي جايه بعدها. As we say, the main focus will be after the coordinating conjunction but right here. So this is the significance here, right? Or the most important part is what comes after but. And the other one will help to support this part. يعني بيساعده ازاي ان هو بيدعم الفكره اللي جايه بعدها to show the contrast ان يوضح التناقض ما بينهم يعني. Why to focus on the other part because the other part will be the most significant one يكون هو الأكثر إيه أهمية يعني. That's why we choose letter D. تمام ممتاز. Number 4. Yes, whose turn was after that? Malik Bass, I think. Yeah, Malik, last question, please. Malik Bass. Malik, are you here? She's not here, okay. Ahmed. Ahmed left too, I think. What happened? Ahmed, where are you with me? Can't you hear Ahmed? Okay. Malik Faris, can you hear me? Can't you hear me, guys? All of you?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, Malik, please answer this question.
Okay. Which choice best describes the overall structure of the text? Using the telescope, okay. Mercedes Lopez Morales and colleagues measured the wavelengths of light traveling through the atmosphere of WASP, an exoplanet, or planet outside our solar system. Different molecules observed different wavelengths of light, and the wavelength measurements showed the presence of carbon dioxide in WASP's atmosphere. This finding not only offers the first decisive evidence of CO2 in the atmosphere of an exoplanet, but also illustrates the potential for future scientific breakthroughs held by the GWST. Okay. It's not A.
Okay.
It's not D either. It's B.
For sure. Yes. Excellent. The answer. What letter B? What do you think?
Because
Yes.
okay. it shows like how they made a discovery where they found carbon dioxide in a planet because they found it in a planet that's outside of the solar system. It proves that the telescope can be used for other things too. So
Yeah.
it's very important
Yeah, good,
discovery.
nice. Yes. So the answer is letter B for sure. Okay, have a nice day and see you inshallah next session. You're done with your exams, right? You took the vacation, right?
Yes.
Okay, nice. Yeah, have a nice day.
Thank
See you
you.
inshallah
Bye.
next session. Bye.
Thanks.
See you. Assalamu alaikum.